welcome back to another episode of SCFG Science Club for Girls Live. I'm Hannah with Science Club for Girls, and that was Mr. Music with your theme song. Very nice, Mr. Music. We'll see you at the end of the show. Well, I'm so excited to have you back, and I'm also excited to have our good friend Namisha back. Let's bring her in.
Hi, Hannah. I'm so happy to be back with you and all of our young scientists.
I'm happy to see you too, Namisha. And hello, all of our scientists at home. Be sure to write your name in the comment box so we can see who's here today. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Marbles, Dr. Marbles, won't be able to join us today because he's off swimming with sharks. But he did make sure to send us a photo. Let's take a look. Oh, there he is.
Hannah, looks like he's having lots of fun and making a lot of new friends.
It does. I hope he's okay with those sharks out there. We'll definitely have to ask him for more stories when he gets back. Now, in the meantime, today we're going to continue on our theme of animals and adaptations. Last week, we learned about sharks. And we learned how they move in water from our good friend Marianne at the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy.
I know, and making those paper airplanes was so much fun. I learned that sharks use their fins to generate forces to help them move when opposing forces are being put on them. For example, they generate thrust to move forward to fight, drag pulling them back. And they generate lift to move upward to fight gravity pulling them down.
That's right, Namisha. I also learned so many new things about sharks last week, and I had a lot of fun making our shark airplanes. I hope all of our young scientists at home had fun making their airplanes too. Well, as promised this week, we're going to look at some new animals, specifically Arctic animals.
Arctic animals get their name because they live in an area called the Arctic Circle, which is all the way up north, near the North Pole.
I don't know about you, Namisha, but I'm really excited to talk about Arctic animals today.
Totally, same here. Some of my favorite Arctic animals include the Arctic fox and, of course, polar bears. Did you know that polar bears can swim nonstop for days?
That's crazy. I have to say, I think narwhals are also pretty cool because they have tusks on their heads. They kind of look like whales, like mixed with unicorns, like a whale-acorn.
Like a sea unicorn?
Exactly. But before we can talk about some Arctic animals, let's refresh our memories on some things we learned about adaptation so far. We learned that an adaptation is when an animal adjusts to their environment in order to survive. Animals can adapt in one of two ways. They can adapt by having special features on their bodies. We call this a physical adaptation. Or they can adapt by behaving in certain ways. And we call this a behavioral adaptation.
Exactly. For example, this leaf-tailed gecko, a reptile that we saw a picture of in our first episode, uses a physical adaptation by looking like a leaf to blend in or camouflage with its environment. Emperor penguins use behavioral adaptations by huddling close together to stay warm in the cold winter.
Awesome. Now that we've jogged our memory on adaptation, let's learn how Arctic animals adapt to their environments. Remember, Arctic animals live way up north in the Arctic Circle. And because they're so far north, it's really cold where they live.
And it's cold the entire year in the Arctic. In the summer, temperatures are usually around 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature where water freezes into ice. And in the winter, it gets even colder. It's usually around negative 65 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 54 degrees Celsius.
Wait, you said negative 65 degrees? Oh my gosh, that's really cold.
I know, right? I already feel cold during winters in Boston. I have no idea how I'd survive winters in the Arctic.
Same here. I need to wear so many layers of jackets just to go for a walk. I can't even imagine living outside in that weather, but somehow the Arctic animals are able to do it. This makes me think they must have some kind of adaptations that allow them to live in this really cold environment.
Well, when it's cold outside, we usually stay warm by wearing jackets. Arctic animals kind of do the same thing by having built-in jackets. Just like how we put on multiple layers of clothing to stay warm, Arctic animals also have multiple layers to their built-in jackets. Each layer of their jackets is made up of different materials.
That's so cool. So they don't even need to go out and buy jackets. They just have them built in. Oh my gosh, that would save me a lot of money. But what exactly are these layers of their built-in jackets made of? They must be things that keep these animals really, really warm.
Well, Hannah, in our first experiment, let's compare some different materials to see which one does the best job at keeping us warm in a cold environment. Let's compare feathers and blubber.
Wait, did you say blubber? What exactly is blubber?
Good question. Blubber is a thick layer of fat under the skin of some Arctic animals, like penguins, polar bears, and whales. This blubber not only keeps the Arctic animals warm, but also stores food for them so when their body runs out, they have a backup. In our experiment, we'll be using food shortening, which is a type of fat, to represent our blubber.
Okay, now what else are we going to compare besides this blubber and feathers?
Well, let's also just compare air, or no jacket, to see how the other materials stick up.
Awesome. So if you're ready to do the experiment, here's what you're going to need. For this experiment, you're going to need a large bowl that's filled with water and ice. This is going to represent our Arctic environment. You'll also need 6 zip-top Ziploc bags. You'll need some vegetable shortening, which will represent our blubber. You're also going to need some feathers for our feather experiment. You might need a spatula to help you spread that blubber, a towel, because we are using water. And if you want to take the temperature of your water or of your different bags, you can also have a thermometer, but you definitely don't need it. Okay, Namisha, what do we do next?
All right, sounds good. Let's start. Let's first create our cold Arctic environment. Let's fill a large bowl with ice and cold water. Now that we have our Arctic environment, let's set up our first layer that we'll later compare, our air or no jacket. Let's turn a clean zip-top bag inside out. All right, now let's place it inside another clean bag. Let's take another bag and put it inside. Awesome. Now let's put this aside while Hannah shows us how to make our blubber bag.
Cool. For our blubber bag, you'll need another Ziploc bag. And you'll open it up and do just like we did with the air bag. You'll want to turn it inside out. And stick your hand in, kind of like a glove. Next, you'll want to grab some vegetable shortening. I've put my vegetable shortening, or my blubber, into a bowl to make this a little bit easier. I'm just going to grab a whole handful like this. It's kind of gross. You'll turn your bag right side out like this. So your blubber's inside, and magically none got on my hands because we turned the bag inside out. Next, we're going to place a clean bag inside the blubber bag. This way, when we stick our hands in the blubber bag, we won't get blubber or vegetable shortening on our hands. So stick it in like this. Now, to make sure that the blubber covers our hand, you might want to just kind of flatten it out like this to make sure that it covers all around where your hand will be. I don't know about you, Namisha, but it feels kind of fun to do this.
It does. Kind of feels like I'm playing with clay or Play-Doh.
Exactly. Cool. Now we have our blubber bag. And let's put this aside while Namisha shows us our last bag, our feather bag.
Awesome. Okay, let's make our feather bag. We're going to fill a clean bag with feathers. So I did this. So let's put our feathers in. All right. Now we're going to take another bag. Let's turn it inside out once again. So many inside out zip top bags, Hannah.
It's true.
All right. Now that we have it inside out, we're going to put it inside the feather bag, just like we've been doing with our air or our no jacket and our blubber bag. All right.
Cool. Should we also make sure that the feathers are covering our hands like we did with the blubber?
Yes.
Maybe spread them out.
Yeah, spread them out a little bit.
It's kind of like we have 3 different gloves, Namisha. One of air, one of blubber, and one of feathers.
Exactly.
Very cool. Okay, now that we have all of our bags prepped, we're going to see which bag stays the warmest inside our Arctic environment, our ice water bowl. But first, we have to make a hypothesis or a prediction. Namisha, which bag do you think is going to be the warmest?
That's a really good question. Let's think. Well, the empty bag has nothing in it, so it's kind of like it's not wearing a jacket. It's kind of like an empty glove. So the bag probably won't even stay warm.
Yeah, that's my guess too. Now, what do you think about the other 2 bags, the blubber bag and the feather bag?
That's harder. Jackets sometimes have feathers, though, and people use jackets to stay warm. So maybe the feather bag will do a better job at keeping the inside warm?
That sounds good to me. Now let's test our hypothesis. Namisha and I will take turns putting our hands in each bag and then placing it into the water. And we'll keep track of our data using our chart. Our chart ranges from 1 being freezing cold to 5 being really, really hot. We'll test each condition and circle how our hand feels in that bag. All right. You ready, Namisha?
Ready. How about we start with the air bag?
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's take our no jacket. Ready?
All right, here we go.
All right.
Woo! It's pretty cold.
Oh, it is pretty cold. I kind of feel like I'm in the Arctic, Hannah.
Oh, I also love that Gianna is making a prediction, a hypothesis. She thinks the feather bag is going to keep our hand the warmest. I think she might be right. We'll have to test. All right, Namisha, I'm ready to fill out my data chart because my hand's getting pretty cold in that air bag.
Me too.
All right, let me see. For me, I'm circling 2 because it was pretty cold, actually.
Me too.
There we go.
All right. Well, how about we test our feather bag now?
That sounds good. Remember, this is Gianna's prediction or hypothesis. She thinks this one's going to keep our hand the warmest. So, Gianna, let's see if you're right. Christina, I'm sorry you're cold. You might want to get a jacket on. All right, here we go. Ready?
Ready. Ooh.
That's not as bad, actually.
Yeah.
Huh. Gianna might be right, actually. In fact, my hand's kind of warm.
Wow. Maybe I'll have to go get a feather jacket after this.
I think so. Actually, it reminds me because my blanket that I have at night on my bed is packed with feathers, and it does keep me pretty warm. So that might be true. All right. For the feather bag, I'm putting warm. I'm putting 4.
I think I'm going to do the same thing, Hannah. I wouldn't really say it was hot, but it was definitely warm.
Yeah, for sure. I could still feel a little bit of the cold water coming through, but not as much.
Definitely. All right, let's test the most fun bag of all, the blubber.
The blubber bag. Say blubber bag 5 times fast. It's pretty hard.
Blubber bag, blubber bag.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Oh my gosh, I can't even feel any cold at all.
Me neither. And my hand's like really in the water.
That's so weird.
That is super cool.
Wow.
I wish I was a polar bear.
I know. It makes sense now. They can kind of live in the Arctic. All right. Time to fill out my data chart for the blubber. I honestly think it might be in between 4 and 5. So I'm going to say it's like 4.5.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with 4.
Cool. All right. Now it's time to compare our data, Namisha. Which bag did the best job at keeping your hand warm?
Well, I'm going to have to say definitely the feathers. I was warm, and the feathers really kept me warm in there. How about you, Hannah?
Cool. For me, it was the blubber. I put it at like a 4.5 because it kept my hand really warm in that Arctic environment. Now, which bag did the worst job at keeping your hand warm?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, I don't really want no jacket in the Arctic. I really don't want this airbag here. It
That's
didn't really
true.
keep me warm.
Yep, same. And I honestly can totally understand why this didn't do a good job of keeping me warm, because even now it's winter here. And when I go outside without a jacket, I'm cold immediately. So jackets are important. Very cool. Well, Namisha, in this experiment, we saw that the blubber and feather bags kept our hands the warmest. So that must mean that adding a layer of either blubber or feathers between the air and the inside of the bag, or sorry, the air and the cold water on the outside of the bag kind of created a barrier, and it made it harder for the heat from our hands to escape.
Well, Hannah, we have a scientific term for that. These heat barriers are called insulators.
Very cool.
In our experiment, the blubber and the feathers were our insulators.
Exactly. It's so cool. Arctic animals have basically built-in insulators, flubber, feathers, and blubber to keep their bodies warm. Now, this must be a physical adaptation because these are features that are in their bodies.
Exactly. Hannah, want to know a fun fact?
Definitely. Please tell me.
Well, the first layer of polar bear's built-in jacket is actually found really, really deep down underneath all of its fur. In fact, it's located right below the polar bear's skin. Here, there's a layer made completely out of blubber, and it's 4 inches thick.
4 inches thick? That's like the height of a tissue box. That's this thick. Wow, that's a lot of blubber.
Yeah, and that's how polar bears are able to stay so warm in the Arctic. Hannah, I'm looking at all these Arctic animals that we've talked about, and I realize that a lot of them have feathers and blubber, but they also have something else in common.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Well, a lot of them are white. Like, look at this Arctic fox and this polar bear. Is it just a coincidence, or is having white fur or white feathers another adaptation?
Namisha, first of all, those are adorable Arctic animals. So cute. And second of all, that's a great observation. It's actually quite difficult to see these animals even because their white fur and feathers blend in to their white, snowy environments, which is probably some kind of adaptation, and it's something that we call camouflage.
Oh, Hannah, I've heard of the term camouflage before. Often people in the military wear camouflage designed to blend into their environment.
That's so true. And Arctic animals aren't the only animals that have camouflage and this physical adaptation. In fact, so many other animals use camouflage to blend into their environments. So I thought we'd play a fun game to see if we can spot the camouflaged animals.
Oh, that sounds fun. It's kind of like I Spy.
Exactly. Okay, so here's how to play. And if you're at home, definitely play along. You're going to see a photo of an environment and an animal, and you need to tell me where the animal is. Now, remember, this is going to be pretty tricky because these animals camouflage into their environments. So, are you ready, Namisha?
I'm ready. Everyone at home, play along too and type your answer in the chat box.
Perfect. Here we go. Image number 1.
Wow.
Do you see anything, Namisha?
It's kind of hard. I feel like I see... Oh, I think I see something, Hannah.
Where is it, Namisha?
I see it right there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a snow leopard, and it did a pretty good job of camouflaging into its environment with the same kind of colors as its environment.
Exactly.
Nice job, Christina. She also saw a cat. Very close to the snow leopard. Good job. All right, you ready for the next one, Namisha?
Ready.
All
Is
right.
everyone at home ready?
Oh, boy.
Oh. Hannah, you seeing anything?
Well, I know the answer, so of course I'm seeing it, but I'll pretend like I don't. Are you at home seeing anything here? I do see a lot of grass. Oh, Gianna sees it. Gianna, do you know what animal you see? Namisha, are you seeing anything?
I am.
All right. You found it. It's a bunny. Awesome. And Gianna saw the eye of the bunny peeking out there. Nice job, Gianna and Christina, and Evelyn too. Nice work. All right, next image.
Also, this bunny is so cute.
Adorable. Ooh, this is tricky.
Oh my gosh.
I only see a bunch of trees, but there has to be an animal that's camouflaged into the trees. Anyone at home see it? I need to get closer to the screen, maybe. Do you see anything, Namisha?
I kind of do, but I'm not sure. It kind of just looks like a bunch of trees. But I feel like it's somewhere in the middle.
Ooh, Christina found 3 deer. Let's see if she's right. Nice job, Christina. Do you see them now, Namisha?
I do. And nice job, Christina. You found all of them.
Very cool. And nice job, Evelyn, finding 3 animals. Good job. Next one. Oh, boy. This one's tricky because this animal's pretty small. Everyone at home is doing a great job finding these camouflaged animals. Keep it up.
Are we seeing anything at home?
Do you see anything, Namisha?
I do.
All right.
Let's look in the tree.
Ooh, Gianna and Christina think it's an owl. Is that what you thought, Namisha?
I did. Let's take a look.
Nice work. That was a little tricky. All right, we have 2 more. These ones are extra difficult because they're the last 2. All right, here we go. Oh, boy. Look close.
There's something there.
I definitely see 2 small triangles. I'm wondering if those are part of the animal.
Probably. Triangle. Maybe like ears?
Oh, yeah. That could definitely be it. Oh, Gianna sees the ears too. All right, let's see. You're right. Those are the ears. And those are the ears of a kangaroo. Very cool. All right, here's the last one, everyone. Ooh. It's also helpful to think, what kind of animal might live in this environment? It's like a muddy, kind of like wet, grassy environment.
Yeah, it's really slimy.
I'll give everyone at home a hint. This animal is a reptile. And if you figure what a reptile is, go watch our reptile episode. Oh, Gianna found a snake. Let's see. Nice.
There it is.
Job. That was a snake. Wow. That was great. Nice job, everyone.
Nice job. That game was really fun and pretty tricky. I can see how camouflage helps an animal to survive in its environment because it really allows the animal to hide from predators. Those are the animal's enemy.
That's right. All right, so let's summarize everything that we've talked about so far. Arctic animals, sharks, amphibians, and reptiles all use adaptations, physical and behavioral, to survive in their environments.
That's right. Arctic animals use their warm built-in coats made of feathers and blubber to stay warm in the cold Arctic temperatures. And they also use their white fur and feathers to camouflage into their white, snowy environment.
Wow, animals are just so cool. And it's been really great learning about how animals interact with their environments. Now, next week, we're actually going to completely switch topics and hear from one of our very own participants and junior mentors, Tamar. She's going to show us a really cool experiment that we can do at home, and you definitely don't want to miss out.
That sounds really exciting. You can count me in on it.
Fantastic. Well, I hope to see everyone at home next week as well. Thank you for joining, and thank you for playing along with our fun game. It's been an awesome episode, Mr. Music. Let's go! Of SCFG. You just made it on time, Mr. Music. He's in trouble. Just kidding. Bye, everyone.
Bye.